Hi guys, welcome back. So, the market correction was clearly not over yet. Yesterday's rebound was just a bull trap. It was suspicious without the volume. So NASDAQ dropped another 3.5% with a big red candle. I think it was quite hard to take for a lot of people, right? But the good news is, even with such a big candle, the volume was really not that big. So not a lot of people sell off. If you compare with the last correction caused by the Wall Street bet. But at least right now we have reached the double support here, which is the support from the previous stage, and also the support from the 60-day moving average. So this is double support. If it breaks through this strong support, the next support is around the 12,000. So if it gapped down below this support, it would reach to this level. Otherwise, we might see some rebound from here, and it might get rejected at this resistance to get back down further. S&P 500 had broke through the 30-day moving average, and the next support is around 3780. Which is pretty close anyways. On the other hand, QQQ had a lot of the selling volume. QQQ is ETF of NASDAQ. Basically, 2 days ago, there were a lot of buying the dip action. And today, there were a lot of selling off action. But QQQ is different than NASDAQ. You see, compared to the difference of volume, it's huge. Something we need to pay attention to. SPY is the same. So even though the S&P 500 did not have spike of volume, the SPY still had a big increase of volume today. And Dow Jones, which had been leading the market few days already, had also completely erased the big gain from yesterday. And it looks like it's gone weak, making yesterday a bull trap. So throughout this week, we have been expecting further correction, so it should not be any surprise for us. Now the good thing is, finally the VIX had a big spike up today. At least this looks like a correction versus a few days ago, right? And also the fear and greed index is finally in neutral versus all the few days ago were staying in the greed level, even though the market was dropping. So today, finally, it got to neutral. But of course, I would love to see more on the other side to think that the correction has done its job. Because we could definitely see some fear going on right now. Every time there is a little correction, there will be for sure some voices around to say how this is gonna end up as a market crash. Now, correction is usually within 10 to 20%, and market crash would be at least 20 or 30%, just like what happened back in March. So if we have a crash right now, it would be at least here or here. So are we having a market crash right now? Let's talk. First of all, I think a lot of people are worried about the bond yield that keep on rising, right? And for me, I want to clarify a little bit, is that the bond yield rising does not mean the market would crash, because the rise of the bond yield could be a result of the economy recovery. So if the recovery is good, it would make sense for the yield to rise. Another thing is that it could be a result of the rise of the crude oil price. So if the recovery is going well, at the same time as the rise of the bond yield, then everything is healthy. It makes sense. It is only when the economy is actually going down, the recovery is not going well, and the bond yield rise, then it might be a problem that can lead to a crash. But right now, we are not in this case, right? Because as we know, a lot of the companies had been growing well their business compared to the first 3 quarters of 2020. And the earning that's coming up one by one for the 2020 fourth quarter, a lot of the earning has been showing good result. So we can see the US economy has been recovering. So to me, it kind of makes sense. But one note to make is that the bond yield rising would affect the growth stock. It would weaken the growth stocks. So that explains why NASDAQ has been dropping much more than the others. Now you know that most of my portfolio is in the growth stock section, but it doesn't mean I would change it to all the value stocks now, because I invest in the future into what I think, what I believe would advance the evolution into pushing technology to improve our life and advance all the industries. So I invest in what I believe in, because I think it's very dangerous to invest in what you don't believe in, because whenever there is a crash or correction, if you are holding something you don't believe in, it's very easy to panic and make the wrong decisions. But with that said, I do focus in the growth stocks that's within the emerging market. It's my way to hedge against the American stocks and the potential bubble in the US stock market. So with that said, yes, it would mean right now I need to tolerate and suffer from the growth stocks being weaker in general. And I'm okay with that, because I believe it's only temporary. It's only sector rotation for now. And I do have recovery play to diversify. So I'll just sit back and do nothing, because all the top 10, all the long-term investment in my portfolio, they are what I believe in for the future. And if I wasn't planning to sell them anyways, then why do I care what number is showing in my account right now? So when do I think there is a crash coming? A lot of the Discord members ask me the same questions. Whether we are having a crash right now, and when do I think the crash will come? So maybe this is worthwhile mentioning. So there are a few conditions for me to consider the crash might be coming. Number one, when the greed level is at the top, when everyone is rushing to buy the dip, because people get simply too used to just buy everything whenever there is a dip. Number three, when the VIX has really bottomed. If we look at the VIX, you can see that in the past, every time there is a market crash, the VIX would bottom before that. You see, before the Black Swan last year, the VIX was between 10 to 15 here. And it's the same before the financial crisis in 2007. It was always at the bottom between 10 to 15. Versus right now, we are still having fresh wound from the COVID Black Swan that drove the market to crash last year. It's still a fresh wound for everyone. So that's why the VIX was still up and down above 20. And that's why whenever there is a correction, people are still having fear, right? And when they have fear, they run away. So if everyone run away, how do institutions create back holders if everyone panics so fast and run away so fast, right? So yeah, if the VIX had been lower before, then I might be more concerned. Because it's when people had completely forgotten about fear. So they're not afraid anymore. This is when it would be more concerning. And number four, it's when there is no more extra capital injected in the stock market anymore. That would mean the stock market might peak at this point, because there is no more extra money to put in. And is that the case right now? Well, first of all, there is still the 1.9 trillion stimulus check that might be used to be put in the stock market anyways. And the other thing is, remember last time we checked the news? For example, last week we saw that China is allowing investment in overseas stocks. An individual can spend up to 50,000 US dollars per year on foreign currency purchases. Even if it's just 1% of the Chinese population that would invest in overseas stocks. That is still 15 millions of people times 50,000 US dollars per year. That's how much, right? And for sure, the majority would go to the US stock market. So if this law passed through, that's a lot of capital injecting in the US stock market again. So that's why I don't think it's the case right now, because we still have more capital coming into the stock market. So that's why I don't think it has peaked yet. And then number 5 is the black swan news. But this is what nobody can predict, like the COVID, right? So this would be absolutely out of control. But some of the Discord members have asked me yesterday whether this Wall Street bets coming back would create a black swan like last time it did in the end of January. And I said no, because it's only a black swan when it's new and when it's unexpected. But when people already had experienced it, then it's nothing new, nothing unexpected. So I wouldn't think it would be another black swan like last time. Just like none of the COVID news after March had created any kind of crash. That's the same effect, because it's not unexpected anymore, so it's not black swan anymore. So if there is any black swan, it would be something that's completely unexpected and no one can predict. That's a completely different story. So in conclusion, I don't think right now we are having a market crash, but more of a market correction, a healthy correction that is still within the zone. So far, we have had a drop of around 8% for NASDAQ. It's not even 10% yet. So it's still within the zone. I know it's not easy to take. In a bull market, in an easy market, everyone takes it easy. But in a tough market, then it's really challenging us. And it is what really set us apart. How we can stay calm in a tough market and still able to think about our strategy in terms of shaping our portfolio while tolerating the loss. For me, I never think about any strategy when the market is open. I only think about strategy when the market is closed, because it is when I am the most calm and not driven by any sentiment, driven by the market price action. So in these few days, I barely did anything other than just setting automatic order to buy and sell and leave my app, to not stare at the market the whole day. So what I did the most in these few days are sports. I did a lot of sports these few days. And it's nice. So I can keep having a clear mind and think straight. So that's it for today. I just wanted to give you an update on the market situation and what I think about it, so you can take it as a reference on what you would do and shape out your strategy. And to let you know, in any ways, we are tolerating this together. So you need to stop blaming yourself and stop staring at the red, because we are here together to pass through this. Okay? Now, if you have enjoyed this video, please give me a big like and write me a great comment, and I will see you tomorrow. That's it, guys. Hope you can find my videos helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a big like. Thank you.